Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to talk about webinar funnels and how you can utilize them, whether you run an agency, a coaching offer, whatever it might be. This funnel kills it, and I've been able to implement that in several of my businesses with great success. But the problem with most webinar funnels is that it's a bit technical to set up, and there's a lot of things, it's a high risk, high reward strategy where you're basically pouring money into ads and setting up a lot of things and doing your slide decks and all that kind of stuff. And ultimately you're hoping to get a really nice return on your investment. So it's a high risk, high reward strategy, and if you don't do things right, you will not get that return on your investment that you're looking for, and you will waste everything you built. So in this video, I'll break down what I've learned, what you need to do, and you can literally follow it step by step if you want to implement the webinar funnel. And I will say in 25, especially in the last half of 25, it's been killing it, mostly because no one is doing it. It's too complicated. It requires too much work. And so this is a good way for you to stand out. And it's a great way to run ads if you have low budgets. If you're spending less than 5K a month, this is going to probably be your best performing funnel because it allows you to speak in front of a lot of prospects and give value up front, which is, a big contrast to, let's say, a call funnel where you just say, here's my offer, take it or leave it, and book a call. Right? So that offer is what everyone is doing. That funnel is what everyone is doing. This will really separate you from the herd. But anyway, let's dive into this. I will share my screen and we'll get going. So I have everything mapped out here. Now, if you're part of my mentorship, you'll get access to all the best practices and all the guides and the links within this Miro board. If you want to check that out, you can click in the description to schedule a call with me. And if you are part of it, just go into the school community where the whole funnel will be laid out along with the Miro board and all the links. But anyway, let's dive in. The way you do a webinar funnel is, of course, you're going to be running traffic to it, right? You can do cold traffic, which would be like ads, or you could do warm traffic, which would be like your email list and your social media and so forth. What I definitely recommend when you launch your first webinar is to do a mix of cold and warm. So if you have any list or any social media presence or anyone you think would be interested, tell them to join, send them a link, tell them to sign up. Because if you only do it through cold audiences, you're gonna have, a very ruthless audience that will not tolerate any mistakes. Whereas a warmer one will be much more forgiving in terms of your presentation technique and all these other things as well. So you can run ads, and that's of course going to be the majority of your traffic, but you can also do warm audiences as well. Now, one little thing I want to tell you about here is the subject of your webinar funnel is obviously really, really important. And one thing you can do in the beginning is actually just pick 5 subjects that you love. You can use ChatGPT to help you pick a subject as well. Tell GPT what's your audience, who you're trying to target, what you're trying to do. Now, what you can do is you can run simple ads like these and literally just throw them to a lander and get them to sign up through the lander. Now you can run that for a week with a little bit of budget, maybe 100, 200 bucks per ad. And that allows you to then see which one of the subjects are more popular, what is the cost per sign up, right? So it's really easy to test your webinar funnel, and that's a really good way to get started if you have no idea what your audience likes. So test it out, run a couple $100 per audience, add straight to lander. I'll get into the lander, by the way, in a second as well, but I just want to show the funnel. The sign up lander is obviously where everything lands. I have an example here. Just a simple lander. You're going to have a 1 to 2 minute video where you explain why people should be in the webinar. This is just a dummy video I put in here. It's going to be maximum 2 minutes, as I said, and you're not going to do a share screen for the most part. You're probably going to talk directly to the camera because you really want to capture them. And as I said, like even 60 seconds is really good because people have very little attention and just want to see if it's for them or not. You're going to have your CTA down here, and then you're going to talk about what it is you will learn, maybe a little bit about what the webinar includes, another sign up link, a little bit of social proof. So that's really the best practice. It's very, very simple. You don't want to have links to your other pages. You don't want to go straight to the webinar. The lander really is simple like that. You click the CTA And this is just like dummy content, but basically you will then have a pop-up. The pop-up is really important. The pop-up obviously needs to capture more information than this. It would have the name, the email, maybe their URL as well. It's actually a bug in this page, not working correctly. It's supposed to have name, email, URL. And that is really, really important because we're going to take that information and we're going to put that into our webinar software so we understand who signed up for the webinar. We're also going to be using it because when we run ads, we're going to run it, the conversion with an objective for people to sign up, right? So they click the CTA with their name, their email, their phone number, maybe URL, those 3 or 4 things. And then Meta gets a signal back that, okay, we got a conversion. So that's really, really simple like that. Other than that, not really much more to say about the lander. All the selling will really be in the video and a little bit about this. But of course, the main subject is extremely important because people read the subject line and then say if it's for them or not. So that's really it. You also want to talk about when the event is going to be held, and these things are just important, a little bit of images, and then a little bit about what it's about. Then what separates this from a normal webinar funnel is we're going to try to recover a bit of our ad spend by getting people to upgrade. So if they sign up at the CTA, instead of just going to a thank you page that says, you know, thank you for signing up, they actually go to a secondary page. It says, do you want to upgrade your registration? Now this is really cool because if you have a great offer, you're going to be able to recover a bit of that ad spend. You'll maybe be able to recover 20 to 40% depending on how good that offer is. And so 20 to 40% just means that the cost per lead will be so much cheaper and you're going to be a little bit more aggressive with your webinar. The upgraded content they get for paying for the upgrade is vital. And you want to have, again, a 1 minute, 2 minute video explaining why they should upgrade. And you can make it to automatic play, or you can do a video thumbnail, but you really want to make sure they watch that video. What they get could be like a sort of a competition to win a full day with you. That would be a massive win that a lot of people would want to use, especially the warmer audiences. 2, lifetime access to all the material. So all webinars are usually hosted for a set amount of time and then they expire. You can give them lifetime access to the material, which could be hosted in school or a Google Drive, wherever you want to go, really. And then this one, which I think is a really cool one, is a 15-minute sparring and sparring call. So whatever your offer is, you literally offer to jump on a call with them for 15 minutes to basically go through their problems or challenges and get some personal feedback. And a lot of people will want to pay to just get time with you, especially if there's someone you look up to. And then of course, lifetime access is great because you're like, you want to maybe rewatch or share it with your team. You could even emphasize that in the bonus that like, this is great if you want to share the webinar with your team and so forth. So these are all great bonuses. You could come up with more bonuses. You could come up with a different type of bonus that you think is more relevant for your audience. So for example, let's say you do email marketing, you might say we'll do a full audit of your email flows and give you 5 big improvements we can make immediately. So things like that, you know, tailoring it to the actual audience can be really, really awesome. But anyway, then there's just a Stripe link where they can go pay for it. And I think the sweet spot is about $40 or so. That is something that people will pay without thinking about it. If it's more than that, you're going to get a lower conversion rate. But again, you could test the different price points, especially if you run high traffic, and you could see what gives you the best revenue per visitor, which is the metric you want to go for here. So that's the bonus page, and that's a huge sort of secret improvement that I have for webinars that 99% don't have. But it doesn't stop there. If they say no to the upgrade, and then obviously take this CTA, then they don't just go to a thank you page. They actually get to a Facebook page, a group where they can basically, let's see if we can get this. Actually, here we go. The Facebook group that they want to be part of. Now, this is for an offer, a different offer that I'm doing with like a friend of mine. And basically what we're doing here is we're getting everyone within a Facebook community where we're going to be talking about how we're growing you know, for this specific offer, how we're growing an e-com brand from 0 to 1 million. But again, if you are doing email marketing or ads, whatever you're doing, you can really use your Facebook group to catch people. And it's really nice because once you have them in here, then you know that you can get them again and again and again for new webinars. So you want to do probably like a welcome message up here when the webinar is close to happening, that talks about like, here's the webinar again, remember we'll go over this, remember to be on time, blah, blah, blah. So there's like a little intro on the webinar. So this is really, really important. You want to have that. You can also, you know, optionally do two things. One thing is you actually go to a thank you page, and the thank you page says like, here are the 3 next steps. Number 1, join our Facebook page because we are going to be posting a lot of content in there and the webinar will be in there. So instead of going straight to the Facebook page, there will be this thank you page, right? And then step 2, go into your calendar right now and accept the Zoom invite or whatever, the webinar invite. So that's number 2. And number 3, you know, whatever, some kind of secret value or extra bonus that they can get access to, you know, that's something that would be also really cool to have them do. So those things are important, 1, 2, 3. And then of course, it's really, really, really important that you get them to join the Facebook page, because we'll have way more people participate in the webinar if we are also having them inside the group, because we can do daily content up to the webinar, and we can write a couple of posts in there on the day of the webinar. So it's just a way to catch them a few more times as well, which is really, really important. So we kind of went through the whole funnel here, but then what we can really write in here is we will have the thank you page, and you can optionally do the, let's just write that in, optionally do 1 to 3 steps. And then one of them can be, join the Facebook group, right? So I just wanted to make that clear. That is something you can definitely do if you want them to sort of understand all the things you can do in your offer. So anyway, that is the whole funnel. That's how you set it up. That is really, really easy like that. Now, the next thing that happens afterwards, you know, you have the whole funnel up and running, is you want to send out automated, like an automated calendar invite for the event. That is like a no-brainer, right? Because they want to basically sign up for the event. Make sure in that automated email that it talks about the theme of the webinar. There's a direct Zoom link within it, so they don't need to click on anything else. And there's something to hype them up about what they will be learning on the webinar, plus give it a good name so they understand what this is about. So this will just increase your show rate. If you're spending a lot of money as well, what you can do is create a meta audience with webinar signups last 15 days. Let's say because you're hosting it 15 days out from when you're starting to spend ads. That means you will only really have people that are ready for that webinar in that specific audience. And then what you can do is you can run video content and sort of make sure you're top of mind while they wait for the webinar to happen. So maybe 6 or 7 videos, different ones with like little tidbits and bits of value, will keep you top of mind, which will increase your show rate. So this is something for people that are spending at least $2,000 on webinars. Otherwise you can skip it because your audience is going to be too small. Then you're going to have value content. You're going to have 1 to 2 emails per day until the event starts. This depends on where you're running the webinar. If you're running it in the US, you could be more aggressive. If you're running the webinar in Europe, you'll be less aggressive because of people's sort of perception of what is too much and too little and so forth in terms of spam. I've actually written out all these different things here so that you can grab that and just change it to your liking. So that is available for everyone in my mentorship group. Then you want to send 2 text messages on the day of the event, one in the morning and then one about 20 minutes before the event starts. That's best practice. And then you want to do 2 emails on that day as well, and you want to do 2 messages on the Facebook group as well. And we're just going to lay them out throughout the day so there's the highest chance possible for them to actually be ready for that webinar. This will have a massive impact on your show rate, and you definitely want to do that. But this also has a massive impact, guys, because if they see a lot of great value and they get more excited about who you are, remember, they might be totally cold coming from ads. They don't know who you are, and they're just like really not sure they're even Why should they even show up for the webinar? So this has to be on point. If you're not writing good content and getting them to open and read the emails, you will have much lower show rate. And right now in the industry, if you're going high scale, show rates probably fluctuate from 10 to 30%. So it's very low. If you're getting 100 people to sign up, you're going to get 10 to 30 people to show up, right? So this has a massive impact on that. But of course, all the things I'm showing you here is literally the way to get people up towards like 30% show rate instead of 10%. You're going to host a webinar on Zoom webinar. You can of course use other platforms, but one thing that's really important is that you want to use a reliable and steady platform, because otherwise what's going to happen is it's going to be lacking and like really fall off when there's a lot of people on it, and Zoom has just mastered that. Plus it's really good for like comments and polls and all these things you want to do to engage your audience. And then the next level thing, which probably a lot of you will not be doing, but this is what we're doing in my businesses, we're setting it up with NHN. You can also use Zapier. What we're going to do is we're going to register people and go high level, and then do a webhook and API connection through Zoom, so they actually get registered within Zoom and not just in go high level. This now means that Zoom knows who signs up, and when they join later on, we can check whether they use the same email and then basically see if they actually are showing up. Then what we can ultimately do is we can tag them, and we can tag them to show this person actually showed up for a webinar. Now, if you're a setter or closer and you have the information they have been on a webinar, you have so much more ammunition, and you could literally take all your contacts and just basically start with the ones that attended the webinar, and then basically you will make sure to reach the leads that are more likely to work with you, right? So it's really important to have that tag and that setup so you know who actually went and participated in the webinar. I recommend the first webinar to be an hour if you're new to it. If you're a little bit more experienced, you will go with 90 minutes. The reason why I'm putting in about an hour here is because when you're not really like experienced in webinars, it can be a really long time to be engaging and talking constantly and hyping up people and getting engagement for 90 minutes. So I recommend to start with 60 minutes, with 45 to 50 minutes on the actual value and the presentation, and then 10 to 15 minutes for the pitching at the end. One thing you do want to do, is a high level, high value thing, is you want to ask for permission to pitch them when you start. So you might have, let's say you delivered 45 minutes on email marketing, how to implement AI in email marketing in 25 for e-com brands. And then at the end of it, you say, you know what, I talked about AI for email, and there's so many things for you to understand and do, and I hope you got a lot of value out of it, but I do actually have a paid sort of solution if you feel like this is way too much. You buy in on the premise on AI, but you don't want to do this yourself. You want to have a partner. So I'd like to ask for permission to show you what that looks like if you want to work with us instead of doing it yourself. And just asking like that will massively increase the amount of people that will stay throughout the pitch, and also the amount of people that will take action based on your pitch. And this is really key, because a lot of people leave the webinar as soon as you start pitching because they think it's rude and they don't really want to be pitched, and they were just there for value. But if you do like that, it's just so crazy how they feel you're polite, respectful of their time. But also what you can say is like, write one in the chat if you think it's okay for me to lay out this offer for you. So you get a micro commitment by getting them to say something in the chat. And hopefully at that point you build so much rapport that they feel like they really want to engage with you when you write or when you ask for the pitch. So this is a high value thing, which is not me that invented it, obviously, but it's sort of the best practice in the webinar industry. So that's what you want to do. The next thing is, if you want people to actually buy from your webinar, and we're all about making money from things, right? We're not doing anything for free. We're not doing anything just for the fun of it. We want to make money. You want to make sure you have an urgency offer. An urgency offer is something where there's a unique reason to take action right now. So let's go back to the AI email offer. What you could say here is, we are actually taking in 3 brands right now that want to work with us with AI. and we will do the full onboarding and the full audit for free. Normally it's $3,000, but we're taking in 3 brands right now because we want to fill the last spots in our capacity. So again, the first 3 people that are ready to work with us on this done for you offer will get $3,000 off, meaning that the first month it will cost you X amount instead of the normal price. Like some kind of urgency where it's the first people to take action and it's a discount that will never really be available again. That really helps them to take action. And then of course, if you give them a payment link, that's gonna drop the amount of sales you will make. But if you say, and all it starts with is you jumping on a call and we see if you're a good fit for this offer. And basically if you are, we will make a plan and a roadmap for you to move ahead with us, and you can see exactly how much you're likely to make from this offer and if it makes sense at all. And having a pitch like that with a no-brainer, no-risk way to move forward will dramatically increase the intake rate on your offer, right? And you will make more money ultimately as well. So book a call instead of the direct payment link. Of course, you can do a payment link if it's a low ticket offer, so less than $3,000-$4,000, I would say is sort of the max where you can send the payment link out. But most of the time it makes sense to book in calls. It's just the best way to get most people moving ahead because there's no risk in taking the next step. It's like in an e-commerce space, when you go from cart to checkout, there's no risk going to checkout, right? It's when you put in your credit card information, that's where the risk is. That's where you're committed for good. So the urgency offer. Now post call immediately after, have your setters call and text everyone and get them to commit to a call. So everyone that didn't commit and booked a call immediately on the webinar or right after, of course, we are going to be doing whatever we can to get them booked in. If you don't have setters, you should be calling everyone that attended and didn't book a call. You should call every single person. If nothing truly amazing happens, at least you have called everyone and build a relationship and they heard your voice. They're much more likely to work with you in the future. And most of the time, you'll also get people that will give you valuable insights about your offer, why they're not moving ahead, what they liked about the webinar, what they didn't like. If you're shameless, you will ask, hey, okay, I know you don't want to move ahead with the offer, but can I just ask you for feedback on the webinar? What did you like? What didn't you like? And that is a really, really cool way to get yourself some data on what to improve for the next webinar. Because let's be honest, the first webinar you do, it will suck. It will really, really not be good. And so having a little mechanism here, let's just write it in here, is ask for feedback on the webinar. What was good and what could be better? This is absolutely critical. This sort of feedback loop is something that most people won't ask for because it's tough to accept criticism and honest feedback, and it hurts to hear that sometimes you're not the best. So this is definitely something you want to do. You want to call every single one. The other thing you would do right after the call, like literally when it ends, you want to send out an email and ask them if they want to take action on the offer, and that the call option is available, but there's a limited amount of slots, and is, basically first come, first serve. So basically there's a limited amount. That email will also convert a good amount of people, because sometimes people will just not have the time to book their call immediately on the webinar. The other thing you want to do, I actually almost forgot that as well. This is a high value advice as well, is that when you are pitching, so we go up here on the pitching, pause the presentation and set aside 2 minutes, or maybe even 3 minutes, for everyone to book a call. So lots of times when people are not booking calls, it's because they're afraid if they go through with that now, then they will not be able to listen to the presentation. So it's really nice to pause the presentation. You can do a countdown, and then the direct link in the comments and on the presentation, and so forth, right? So pause the presentation and just set aside 3 minutes for everyone to book a call. You can entertain people in the meantime. You can answer some questions, whatever. but pausing the presentation is a really, really high value tool to get more people booked in, especially if you're going to do a bit of a soft sell during the presentation. So for example, let's say you're doing 50 minutes here, and after 25 minutes, you're going to do a little bit of a soft pitch, and then you're going to do another pitch after 50 minutes. Then you will have to pause the presentation. You cannot keep presenting because people are just going to be afraid they will miss a valuable point. So keep that in mind as well. After the event, keep people warm by sending 1 email per week to them, add them into the Facebook group, invite them to join the next webinar. Of course, we want to keep that conversation going. And if you're going to do webinars in the future as well, you're probably going to want to have 1 email per week, warming them up, having some kind of value be sent out to them. When the next webinars are scheduled, you will send out links to every single one for them to register for the next webinar. And of course, you can keep pitching them to join the Facebook group as well, where there will be more information about the coming webinars and so forth. So this is absolutely key to get the most value out of them. So anyway, that was everything in the funnel. It's pretty straightforward like that. I showed you the different pages, just some ideas. If you are my mentorship, you actually get you'll get the snapshots as well. You'll get all the documents here, and you'll get my best practices and keys to success, which I have within the mentorship. You can also get access to this through my my course, which you can find at Agency Supremacy, where you can buy just access to the course alone, in which case you also get access to this full video and all the best practices and so forth as well. I just want to leave you with this. When you combine the webinar funnel with your call funnel, challenge funnel, lead magnets, etc., you start to see better performance across all funnels. The reason for that is we are in a trust recession, and no one is doing this. No one is offering value up front. No one is showing their expertise up front. This will warm up your audience so much that they will see your other ads, your other funnels, and be much more likely to convert down the line. So you send out so many positive vibrations, ripple effects, whatever you want to call it, into your ecosystem when you do a webinar funnel, especially if you're focused on delivering ad and not just doing fluff content, but actually super, super high valuable webinars that get people a lot of useful information. So this is the webinar funnel. Let me know if you like it. If you have any comments, click below, and we'll talk soon. Bye.